face it, you're addicted to love, as in NH Unscripted. Welcome back, everybody. I am your Robert Palmer type host, Ray Dudley. We are coming to you from the Six Flags-like conditions of the WKXL studios in Concord. For those of you who are gathering around the radio, you can find us at 1450 AM, 103.9 FM. Those are Concord-based, 101.9 FM in Manchester. And hey, you know what? We got a URL, nhtalkradio.com. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that later. Ooh, I need to thank my sponsor, Lakes Region Fence in Guilford. LRFence.com, LRFence.com. You know what? St. Patrick's Day is coming up. What could be better? Instead of going out to all the pubs and the bars, and take a look out your back window at that old relic that you think is a fence but really isn't stopping anything. Yeah, baby. Go out to LRFence.com, you and your favorite squeeze, and you can spend hours just looking at fence porn. Oh, my God, it's so beautiful out there. LRFence.com, they do it all. They do it all. Horse corrals and pickleball courts and I don't know what else. They have property lines. Yeah, they do it all. Matt and his crew, exemplary work. We appreciate them sponsoring NH Unscripted. We're assuming he likes us as well. After I dog his commercials all the time. Anyway, I'm getting carried away. In house with me today for a return visit is Angèlica Rosenthal. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, why are we here today?
Oh, God, great question.
Huh? That's what I do here.
Yeah, I have a show going out soon. Yeah. We're in tech right now. We open next week and the week after.
And it is called?
The Last Days of Judas Iscariot with the Milford area players.
Rolls off the tongue. What? Okay, first of all, I've never heard of it except for you guys doing it, and I've seen some of the Instagram shots.
Sure.
What in the world is it about?
So the show is about the trial, of Judas, whether he should be in hell or in heaven.
And who is God?
No.
Who's the judge here?
No. So it takes place in purgatory.
Oh, it does.
So
been there once or twice myself.
So it's just a Southern gentleman who is the judge, played by Mike Colina, who just also lives in purgatory, and that's how they decide these cases, is they just litigate them.
You said these cases.
Yeah, so it's multiple cases. So the show opens with, all these cases being presented and him dismissing them. Judas's case comes up. He doesn't want to do it. One of the lawyers has to go get a writ signed by St. Peter, then a writ signed by God, and that's how the show starts.
I see. How long is it?
2 hours and 45 minutes.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of litigation.
It is.
Do I dare ask you the outcome, or is that like going to give things away? I
think it'll give things away. But I don't know. I've seen this show done multiple times, and what they do, there's a 4-page monologue at the end of the show. It's really beautiful. It's by the jury foreman, who's played by Jesse Drake in the show. And he does tell you the verdict. But for me, at the end of the show, the verdict doesn't really matter. It's not really what it's about.
Oh, it's about the journey.
It's about the journey, and it's about forgiveness for yourself. And so it's like, do you need the court to tell you you're guilty or not guilty? Because really, you're the judge of yourself, is how I see the show. That's
an interesting perspective. So do you think the audience will follow that same line of thought?
Well, I think that the show is very controversial, and it has a lot of controversial figures presented in the show. It has language, and I think a lot of people kind of see it at a base level. But I think if you walk out of that show being like, they said the F word a lot, then you really miss the point.
Do they say that in one of your shows?
It's been known to happen.
What? I'm noticing the breadcrumbs are following a little bit of a trailer. So, you said that it has some controversy.
Yes. So it has a lot of language in it.
Have you had pushback from people?
Oh, yeah.
Already?
I had pushback when I
pitched it?
Pitched it, yes.
From?
A lot of people.
Oh, look at you playing coy.
Yes. For me...
Why? What was the biggest complaint?
The biggest complaint was the language. Language, and that they felt that it was sacrilegious.
Really?
Which I think is really close-minded. It's a piece of art.
So did they say that after they had read it, or had they really not even read it and just made that kind of a statement?
I think they read some of it.
Okay.
And then the controversy was also hiring me to do it. personally. So
let me think. Why would that be?
I don't know. I feel like my shows are pretty successful, but
they are. That's an understatement.
I think they knew that I was going to do the content to its fullest extent, and they were concerned about that.
Okay, let's get into that then, and pull that apart just a little bit.
Sure.
I mean, how can it really be sacrilegious? I get that if it were about Christ or Jesus himself, I get where people might kind of foam at the mouth, but it's Judas.
Well, you know what? Jesus is a character in the show.
Yeah.
I think Jesus is very well represented as like a very holy figure, and he's very much also represented as a person. But I don't really understand that. I think, I look at shows like Jesus Christ Superstar that were hugely controversial with the Catholic Church. And I think that was the biggest mistake they ever made in their life, because I think that if they had embraced that, it would have brought so many younger people into the church. But because they hated it and they protested against it, they ruined this huge PR opportunity for themselves. It's a piece of art. Nobody's saying that this show is the Bible. Nobody is saying that this show is fact. But if you're going to take art that seriously, in a lot of ways, to me, that's fine, because art's about inciting a reaction. And for me, it doesn't have to be a positive one.
Yeah. So is it contemporary?
Yes. Yeah, it came out in the 2000s.
I mean, does it take place in this time frame?
So it takes place in purgatory. So it's very much a nebulous time. So we have characters like Caiaphas and Jesus and Pontius Pilate. Are they dressed
like their day? Are they...
Not all of them. And then we also have Sigmund Freud is brought onto the stand, and Mother Teresa is brought on the stand. So we have these modern characters mixed with these biblical characters. And so it is very much this like nebulous time period where they all exist together, and technology is all exists together, and they all speak the same language. And
so what's controversial then? What?
I don't think anything is, if I'm being honest.
Maybe I'm asking the wrong person then.
As I said, there's a lot of language in the show.
Okay.
And I don't understand why that's such a hot button issue for people in this day and age.
Right.
I did put 3 musical numbers into the show as well. And one of them is a Magic Mike-esque camel number.
Okay, I'm beginning to flesh out why there might have been some controversy. I see as we lean into this.
I think it's beautiful.
Like a Magic Mike moment, huh?
Yeah.
Huh. I see. Okay, that would be something you probably don't see much in purgatory.
I don't think you see that much anywhere, and I think that's the problem with this country.
Oh, we're going there, folks. I'm going to try to get us out of that. So, all right, look. So, I saw photos or stills on Instagram. A lot of people just wearing suits, right?
Yeah. So, we really tried to take each character and make it their own, and any representation of that. So in the script, Satan, for example, it says he's wearing Gucci. And so Mark Kelly, who's playing Satan, and I looked into what's in Gucci right now, and it was all velvet suits. And so then I said, let's take it one step further, and let's give him like kind of a harder look, because he takes his shirt off in the middle of the show. I said, let's give people something to look at, right? And so I took Pete Davidson, and I don't know if you've ever seen him shirtless, but he's covered in tattoos.
I can honestly say I have not. Thank you.
Well, you're missing out.
Take your word.
And so I said, let's make your torso really, really busy. And so it's just this vastly different take on Satan, where it's almost like a Jared Leto Joker looking when we finally reveal him.
That's what I was thinking when you showed me that photo.
Yeah.
Jared Leto Joker.
And then we have one of the lawyers. The 2 lawyers are Brianna Rico and Garrett Meyer. And we took Brianna and kept her very, standard female lawyer skirt, suit. Garrett, we said...
She doesn't take off her shirt.
She does not.
Okay. I thought I'd ask.
Fair question. And with Garrett, we said he's very...
I'm all about equality here.
I agree. I think equal opportunity.
There you are.
We said with his outfit, let's make him really eccentric. His character is very eccentric. It's very over the top. And so we said, let's take this like 2-tone idea of... So we dyed both the sides of his hair blonde and the middle black, and we have these like suits that are one side sequined, one side black, to really, juxtapose this like eccentric, over the top character that he is.
Wow, you guys have really gotten into it.
I'm a big fan of design.
I guess so. What do you think that people, when they leave, will they have left the theater, you hope, saying, oh, I never thought about that and why it unfolded that way? Or are they just going to leave going, well, they said a lot of swears?
I think again, if that's how they leave, it's very
they miss the
close-minded. They miss the point. I think they're looking for something to be upset about. As I said, it does end with this 4-page monologue, and it is very gut-wrenching of a monologue of like. And I think I leave hearing that monologue every time with like deep self-reflection. It ends with this quote by W.H. Arden, which is like, I'm gonna do my best to not butcher it. It's something to the effect of,
yes, you hear the music. Time for Spam and Sanka. Oh, Angèlica Rosenthal is in the studio. We are talking about, what's it called?
The Last Days of Judas Iscariot.
The Last Days. For some reason, I want to say never mind what I want to say. You are listening to NH Unscripted. I am your happy to be out of bed host, Ray Dudley. You are probably listening to us either on 1450 AM, 103.9 FM in Concord, or 101.9 FM, the beautiful souls in Manchester, or you've gone out to nhtalkradio.com and hit the live button. Ooh, it gives me tingles. We'll be back in just a moment. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Because I said it was. And I am your fifth dimension-like host, Ray Dudley. Happy to be here. You are listening to NH Unscripted. We are coming to you from the spa-like conditions of the WKXL studios. I can practically feel the warm towels right now. 1450 AM, 103.9 FM in Concord, 101.9 FM in Manchester. NHTalkRadio.com is the URL for those of you who stay digital. In studio with me is Angèlica Rosenthal. And we're talking about a slightly controversial play she's about to stage. Angèlica.
Yes.
I have a question for you.
All right.
You said you put in 3 musical numbers?
I did.
That were not originally in the...
Correct.
Did you have to get permission for that? Am I putting you on the line here?
Yeah, a little bit. Traditionally, these numbers, one of the numbers I've seen multiple times go into the show.
You have?
Not this musical number in particular, but something go in here.
Why is it? What was it lacking? Why would you do that?
No. It's a transition.
God, yeah.
But unlike Hand of God, we had all these musical transitions to get from scene to scene. This show doesn't really have scenes. It just kind of sieges into the next thing. So basically, he throws out the case and then somebody else enters. And it's very much like this hard stop. And that's when we bring in the dancing camels. Which it says in the script. So I can't have them dance to nothing.
She literally said dancing camels.
So it's camel heads, male body.
I live in a great world. Honest to God. Okay. So you have these dancing. I thought I would be irreverent and say what you would probably have a kick line, but you topped me. Dancing camels. Can you? Is that originally in there?
It is in the script.
Camels.
Yep. Send in the dancing camels.
Oh, it says send in.
And you know what?
Huh.
I will do that.
Really?
I will deliver that.
I'm shocked. This is my shocked face.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't say how they're dancing or what kind of camels, but to me, it's just, how would you go any other way besides like a magic mic?
I asked myself that same question. How would you go any other way?
I couldn't think of another way to do it.
Oh my God, dancing camels. Okay, so where would you put this play on a spectrum of... have you had ticket sales already?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what's been the reaction? Are people like, I really want to see it?
I think a disclaimer as strong as my shows incites excitement.
You have to put
and curiosity. I like to put a disclaimer just,
because
to cover myself and also I don't want people, coming into my shows and being upset that they're seeing something they didn't expect to. And normally, if it was The Sound of Music, I'd say, you know what you're getting into. This show is not super well known.
Understatement. Where did you see it originally?
They did it at my college in Plymouth.
Oh. Yep. And it was been on your back burner all that time thinking, I got to do this somewhere.
Yeah, it's been on my list.
Why Milford?
They They had been asking me to direct for them for a while. I sent
Mistake, number one.
Well, I sent them 3 shows. This was the 3rd show that I sent them and that they picked. So the first show I sent was Misery. But they wanted a bigger cast than Misery. The second show I sent them was Angels in America, and they didn't really want to do another 2-part show because they had just done a 3-part show. So Judas was the 3rd show I sent them.
Wow. So all those other 2 you've been wanting to do as well?
They're still on my list.
They are. Interesting. Misery would be great to see.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, man, that would be a wonderful play. So what is so the time frame is purgatory, kind of, well, I say time frame. The place is purgatory.
Yeah, open time frame.
Open time frame. As these different characters come in, what are their purpose? Like you said, Freud comes in.
They're testifying.
They are.
So they're being called in by the lawyer to testify.
They are.
Yep.
So is it literally like a courtroom? Have you got it set up like a courtroom?
Yes.
You do?
Yep.
With a witness stand and all that?
It's it's a little minimalist of a courtroom, a bit of an avant-garde courtroom, but yes, it is the 2 lawyer tables, a judge's stand, and I think the judge's stand is like 7 feet tall, and then the witness stand.
Is it a play in 1 act or 2?
It is 2 acts.
It is, so it's intermission.
Yep.
So it's like a cliffhanger at intermission? The Dancing Camels, is that what?
The Dancing Camels come very early in Act 1.
They do?
Yes.
Huh. So what separates Act 1 from Act 2?
It's just mid the trial. We only get through, I think, 3 witnesses in Act 1.
How many are there?
Oh, I don't know.
Witnesses. Witnesses to what?
Witnesses to Jesus and the betrayal of Jesus Christ. Witnesses.
So you call in, technically the play, calls in people who were there when Judas turned him in, traded for silver?
Yeah, so Caiaphas is one of them. Pontius Pilate, Simon the Zealot.
They're all in the play?
They are. Yep.
Oh, that's fascinating. And so are you pulling their witness information from the Bible, or is it just written, the script is just written kind of?
And the script is written specifically, and we tried to take their
quotes,
their vibe from the Bible and really put that into the design of each costume of like, yes, Simon was this like hothead and he was like very ambitious, and like, how do we, there's no like clear vision in my mind of what Simon the Zealot looks like. But what I, kind of took from that is like, let's take his general vibe and like really push that into the design of what would he look like now? Like, what would he be now?
Old.
Well, no, if he was like his age now in the modern world, what would that look like?
I see. So is there a final conclusion? Do you reach a summation, a verdict, or is it kind of left out there?
There's a verdict of the case, yes. But again, to me, the verdict doesn't matter. Because if you can't forgive yourself, what does a verdict matter one way or the other? So
you're saying that this is kind of like Judas finding himself, accepting what he did? Is that kind of the premise here?
Judas is never looking for this case. It's somebody fighting on his behalf.
What?
Yep. So no, I don't think it's about that at all.
Is he in the play?
Yes.
He is?
Yep.
Okay, I don't know where to go with
it. It's a whole thing. It's very complicated.
What has been the biggest problem you guys have had to overcome?
Probably an Oklahoma-style dance lift in Camel Number. There's a Madonna song in Act 2, and it was just lacking something. I said, do you remember that lift in Oklahoma where they like hoist Laurie all the way up on his shoulder and they spin? I said, I think that's what it's missing, and doing it in these giant camel masks, I think, was challenging. They are executing it, and I was like, this is what it was missing.
That's a great sound.
It's been keeping me up at night.
It's about to keep me up, I think. So what are the other 2 numbers?
Sure. So we have a Madonna number in Act 2.
For the same reason? It's a scene changer?
No, actually. So in the show, one of the lawyers calls Don Ho to the stand. And then the joke is... Don Ho? Yeah, famous Hawaiian singer Don Ho. They call him to the stand. The joke in the script is that he's not dead. Unfortunately, he died 3 years after the show came out. So this joke does not work anymore. So we had to, kind of finagle, keep that reference in, and then find someone who was not dead and call them to the stand. So we called Madonna to the stand. And so we have a little Madonna number.
They give you that much latitude?
I mean, the script doesn't make sense. The script doesn't make sense, unfortunately. It's very unfortunate. I would hope that the show didn't do him in, but who's to say?
Oh, my God.
Who's to say? And then the other 3rd number is after that 4-page monologue. where again he talks about, you know, when you're at the pearly gates of heaven, God can reduce you to tears by reading you poems of what your life could have been if you were good. And I think that W.H. Auden quote is gutting, and I'm probably butchering it, but basically it's this foreman being like, you know, you sold your friend out for this. That's nice. What I did in my life was way worse. And it's like, you know, everybody judges themselves on these high levels. And so then there's supposed to be this transition of Jesus and Judas kind of having their moment. And so we put an Ave Maria-esque number into that, but with English mixed with Latin. And Jesse Drake is singing that. It's very beautiful.
Wow. So the end becomes a very somber moment rather than like a very happy, we won the case kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't say they won.
Okay, I know. Trying to pull it out of you here. Get it out.
It's really beautiful. And again, I think it really brings that humanity in of like, again, you take these Bible characters and you put them on a pedestal and they can be this like grand, beautiful, godlike pedestal, or it can be this awful, satanic, worst, damned pedestal. But at the end of the day, they're all people. And at the end of the day, what you do in your life affects you more than it affects anybody else.
Did you have difficulty casting it?
I had, to my understanding, the biggest turnout that MAP has ever had in auditions. So we had
for a play that most people never heard of?
About 40 people for a show that normally has about 10. And there's a lot of doubling in the show. I was able to kind of stretch that out and not double people, which I think is kind of nice. And no, I had no issue casting it at all. Oh,
my God. So 40 people, it gave you quite a pool to pull from. So you have some tremendous talent.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. Hey, you hear that music? It's time for us to put on our tap dance shoes and tap out of here so they can make some money. Yeah, we're going upstairs and have some maple and tang. You are listening to NH Unscripted. I am your host, Ray Dudley, and we are coming to you from the things of the WKXL studios in Concord, 1450 AM, 103.9 FM. 101.9 FM for the happy, beautiful souls of Manchester. NHTalkRadio.com is the URL. Angèlica Rosenthal is in the house. We'll be right back. Say the old folks. It goes to show you never can tell. Welcome back, happy listener. You are found NH Unscripted. I am your happy host, Ray Dudley. We are coming to you from the Six Flag-like conditions of the WKXL studios in Concord. I'm practically on the roller coaster right now. 1450 AM, 103.9 FM, and 101.9 FM in Manchester. Our URL is nhtalkradio.com. Out there, you can find the archives of this show, plus all of the other shows here at the studio. Plus, you'll find that live button I talked about where you can listen to us. This show, NH Unscripted, comes to you every Wednesday and Friday morning at 9 a.m. But you knew that, didn't you? Because you're here and you're listening. In studio with me is Angèlica Rosenthal, talking about how she's trying to get thrown out of town with a new play she's doing. If I got that right?
This is mild compared to what I normally do.
Oh, dancing camels, magic Mike moments. My God.
I feel like you were a lot more taken aback from Hand of God.
Well, okay.
That'd be my bet.
So if I've seen Hand of God, which I did, this is going to be like a walk in the park. This will be just a...
Yeah, I don't think it'll be...
shocking?
Well, I don't know. I can't speak for you.
Do you swear? No, but I know all the words. Okay, so tell me about the 4-page monologue. That's a lot of lines. 4 pages is a lot of lines.
Yes, and so when Jesse auditioned, he was very much, I want to do this role, or one of the lawyers or nothing.
Really?
And nobody else came in with that. And so he, performed the monologue in the audition.
He did?
Yep.
He had the monologue done?
He had it,
for the most part.
He had it planned out, and I had given sides because that's how I'd rather hear from the script than a random monologue from something else. It doesn't really do anything for me. That shows me how much you can do with an infinite amount of time. I want to know what you can do with, this subject matter. And it's just this really beautiful, like, hey, I was the jury foreman. Here's the verdict. And then he's like, can I tell you about myself a little bit? And then it's just this beautiful, like, story of his life. And why, and he doesn't know he's dead, but he thinks he's dead, but nobody will tell him. So we all know he's dead. Foreman? We know he's dead because he's in purgatory, and they kind of acknowledge it, but he doesn't know. So he's like, I'm pretty sure I'm dead, but nobody's confirmed it, so I haven't asked. And here's my concern, and I really miss my family and my wife, and here's how I messed up my life when I was alive. And it's so beautiful.
Wow.
A really beautiful monologue.
Man, oh man, I got to get out there. Why Milford? Why did you go down to Milford?
They had been pre-COVID, trying to see if they could get me in to work on a show. They're pretty known for, not what I normally do, kind of the classics, kind of tamer shows. They do a lot of Shakespeare there. But I believe the board was kind of looking for, let's try something completely different. Let's try something way off the beaten path. Let's see what happens. And I think, with the turnout for auditions and with the ticket sales already, despite what people were worried about, I think it is boding well for them.
So let's get into some deets.
Sure.
My sister said that to me the other day, and I'm like, what the hell is a deet? Okay. So, do you have a URL for ticket sales?
Yeah, MilfordAreaPlayers.org.
Okay. And how many weekends is it going on?
It's going up for 2 weekends, so it'll be this weekend and the weekend after.
Ooh, great time. March Madness. It's all weaving its way through my mind. So are you... How many people does the theater itself seat?
Ooh, that I'm not sure. A couple hundred.
Okay, that's healthy.
And
is
we do have
church. What is it?
No. It's the Amato Center, so it's the Boys and Girls Club.
Ooh.
And we do utilize the whole theater space. So we have actors moving through the audience, doing scenes. Actually, over the audience, we have in Act 2 Satan entering from the back of the house, from the emergency exit, and doing his scene across the audience against the judge while he's in the crossover.
Oh, is he the one who swears a lot?
He's been known to.
Huh, really? It's my shock face again.
Yes, he has the most colorful language and the most different types of words.
If you... this is a terrible question to ask, but if you, as the director, had a favorite moment in the show, is it the monologue or is it something else that happens in the show that you're like, oh, that is just perfect?
I think the monologue's really special. Yeah. I think I go see the show whenever it's done. We'd actually gone to see it in Boston right before COVID hit, and they'd cut the monologue.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. And I've seen it a couple of times with the monologue cut. I'm sorry. The one we saw in Boston, they did the monologue and it was paced horribly, and I checked out. But we've seen a couple where they've cut it, and again, you lose the verdict, you lose the whole conclusion and this like really neat wrap up of the show. My favorite part in the show, I guess, would be, I like the musical numbers, but in Act 2, Satan loses it and trashes the courtroom, and we had permission for pyrotechnics, so I've become a professional pyrotechnician during this show.
Oh my God.
And so, we're making use of fire in the show. So I think that's exciting.
Wow. So why would you think that they would cut that music? Cut the monologue.
The monologue. I think it's hard. It's very long. It's 4 pages.
You're talking about, you've seen it in Boston, you said. If they can't pull it off.
It's easy to do wrong. It's if you don't pace that well, and if you're not really invested in it. And again, it's it's him just telling a story. And really what it has to be, and what Jesse and I talked about is, how would you tell a story to a friend? And like, how does that come off, and that pacing and like remembering those moments that you're talking about. If you can't pace that well, it kills the whole show.
Ooh, well, that's a load to carry.
It is, yeah.
Because, let's face it, we've all seen bad theater.
Oh, yeah.
And in the wrong hands, that would just be
And so I think
painful.
I think for a lot of places, I'd rather cut it than it be bad.
You would.
I wouldn't.
You would. Okay.
I would do it well. Yeah. But but I can understand feeling like we don't have the right person to do that. Then maybe you shouldn't do the show. But I think cutting it is a horrific choice to that show. Yeah.
Were you worried about, before you had cast it, were you worried about finding someone that could do that, could pull it off? Were you aware at the time that it was going to be a heavy lift?
Oh, yeah. I'm super familiar with the show before we auditioned it. But yes and no. I think it's my job to get an actor there.
Well said. Well, as opposed to just putting somebody in who walks in the door because we have nobody else to do it. Oh my God, she cast to the role. Wow.
Well, I also feel like I'm a strong proponent of, if we don't get the right people, then, you put out another call and see if you can get the right people. But if you can't get the right people, you don't do the show.
Girl, you are in my world. I can't believe I've had this discussion with other people who either the group just doesn't have the courage to cancel the play they wanted to do and work with the cast they've got, or they do that stupid thing where they just put anybody in. So you said you have another play. So you're a very busy person.
Yes, it keeps me out of trouble.
Huh. Besides going to the gym
yes.
at midnight, which I found out. So what's coming up? Something about...
So we just moved in Judas on Sunday, and at 6 o'clock on Sunday, I left and went to the first read-through of Trail to Oregon, Star Kid musical, where we blocked the whole show with a different cast, obviously.
Do you say Star Kid?
Yeah, Star Kid is the name of the company. They did the Harry Potter musical. They did Twisted.
What? Oh, really?
Yeah. They're known online. They're a very big online presence, yeah.
So who's doing Trail to Oregon?
Trail to Oregon is through ACT, Actors Cooperative Theater.
Okay. It's in Nashua? Yeah?
Nope, it's in Derry.
I knew that. I did know that, actually. Why did I say Nashua? So, and when is that? When are you hoping to see that go up?
So that goes up at the end of April.
April. Oh, okay. That's
a move-in.
Ooh. And what are the big challenges to that? What are you hoping to accomplish with that one?
So
I've never heard of it.
It's a comedy. It's based on the 1980s video game, The Oregon Trail.
Oh,
where you set up a family and you take them down the trail and try not to die. But the way that this show works is that the audience is part of that. So they get to name every single character just like you would in the game. They also get to decide who dies at the end of the show.
So there's audience participation in that?
Yeah, it's got a lot of improv element.
Okay, I know nothing about the game. I know nothing about the play. Is it a musical?
It is a musical.
Does it have dancing camels?
Not yet.
Magic Mike moments?
I will not say no because I don't know what will happen, but not as of yet.
She's unleashed, ladies and gentlemen. She's feeling...
I have the camel heads. We may as well use them, right?
Yes. So... You already had auditions for it. How the casting turned out okay for that?
Yeah. So again, we had about 40 people, 6 roles.
Really?
6 roles. Yep. Normally not an ensemble. We did add an ensemble element to open up the dance for Brianna, who is the choreographer. But I think we ended on a cast of like 8 or 9. And we had about 40 people audition to that as well.
Wow. That's impressive.
It was a lot. And unfortunately, we had to have callbacks, which is the bane of my existence. I hate to do that to actors. I hate to do that to my team, but it came down to it. So.
Man, oh man. So you have a strong cast then.
Oh, for sure.
Ooh, hang on. It's time for some maple. We are chatting about theater. Angèlica Rosenthal and myself. We got one more block to go. Ooh, mama. I gotta get caffeinated. You are listening to NH Unscripted. We are coming to you from the digs of the WKXL studios, deep in the bunkers in Concord. 1450 AM, 103.9 FM, 101.9 FM in Manchester. And our URL is nhtalkradio.com. Angèlica and I will be right back. Whew. Love grows where my rosemary goes. You are listening to NH Unscripted. I am your pajama bottom wearing host, Ray Dudley. We are coming to you from the Taj Mahal-like digs of the WKXL studios. Never overly ostentatious, I might add. That's in Concord, 1450 AM, 103.9 FM, and 101.9 FM for the beautiful souls of Manchester. If you need a URL, if you gotta have a URL, then here's a URL, nhtalkradio.com. In studio with me is Angèlica Rosenthal, and we are just going through this whole library of plays she's involved in. My gosh. All right, so Trail of Oregon is going up in Derry.
Trail to Oregon is going up at the Derry Opera House, yes.
In April.
Yep.
URL for that?
Oh, Nope.
Okay.
You can follow us on Actors Cooperative Theater. Facebook is probably the best way to keep updated with that.
Perfect. That will be a great substitute. You said that you just finished the New Hampshire Theater Alliance Awards.
Yes. I usually just call it the New Hampshire Theater Awards, but it's for the New Hampshire Theater Alliance.
That's us old folks that we remember it the old way. Just trying to get it done properly. How did that go?
I think it was very successful. It was my first year directing it. And I was also the choreographer for the New Hampshire Theater Awards.
You are a glutton for punishment.
I wasn't supposed to do a dance number, and then we did.
But you found some camel head.
No, they said it had to be PG-13.
Oh,
so
darn those
Cabaret
people.
just made the cut.
Darn those.
Because Cabaret performed as well, but. Directing the New Hampshire Theater Awards was a large undertaking. Brian Halperin was super supportive and helpful, thankfully.
Yeah, you pick his brain?
Oh, constantly.
Yeah. He knows a lot about it.
And it seemed to be successful. It seemed to be well received. It was the first year coming back.
Yeah.
I'd never done it before, so.
Was the place packed?
Yeah, I think they had 800 tickets sold. It was a lot of people. And for me, it was a lot of very small margin of error was going to be allowed because, again, I don't want to be the person who gives out the wrong award. But also, just again, it's like putting something up in front of the theater community. It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, your peers, right? Yeah, it's not just a show for people who want to go see a show. This is
people who do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So what was the biggest challenge to that? I mean, you had a mixture of community theater and professional, correct? So what was the most difficult thing that you had to face?
I was pushing all the tech elements together. So it was lights, sound, projections.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it was all these different theater companies performing. So we had, 3 straight shows performing, 6 musicals performing.
Really?
And so it's now me teching somebody else's show alongside them, which was challenging because I didn't know them all.
Yeah.
So we looked at like actors, singers. They did Firebringer. I didn't see the show. I don't know much about the show. So it was a lot of me having to go back and forth and go, is this what you want? Is this the vibe? This is kind of what I'm getting from what the research I've done and what I've seen. And then again, the same with some of the straight shows. Some of the straight shows were from way up north. I wasn't able to go see them. And everybody was fantastic to work with. Every single one of those theater companies came in and were super nice and were able to answer my questions. And it was great. And then I had the performance ensemble who also presented the awards. So we did an opening number, we did an opener of Act 2, and then the In Memoriam, another, again, high pressure, like cannot be wrong.
Ooh, yeah. Was I in the In Memoriam?
You were not.
Oh, thank God. I can never tell anymore.
I said there were a couple of times where I said, I don't know, I might make it into the In Memoriam this year.
So the award ceremony itself went well? I mean, the giving them out?
Yeah, I had a really strong stage manager. It was Rosemary Kelly. She's also my stage manager for Judas, and she is just so no nonsense and so on top of, making things flow smoothly. And we didn't want a 3.5 hour show.
Yeah.
We wanted to get things moving
How long
quickly.
did it take?
I believe it came just under 3 hours.
Okay. So you look at it now, when you step back, are there things he said, oh, you know what, I think next year we might want to do this instead? Or I
don't know if I'm doing it next year. That is a mystery. They haven't talked to me about it, to be totally honest. I think they're, kind of revamping their ballots and all that. And so I don't know if that's super on their mind. So until we have that conversation, I just try not to think about next year.
Well, they didn't fire you. They didn't walk up and go, Angèlica, here's your check. Thanks.
I was waiting.
So was that with the interim board? They have a full board now?
I believe there's still interim members on that board.
So they had the interim board, and I know that they were trying to redo the ballots even last year. Was that successful for the adjudication process?
I'm not positive. I think they're still making tweaks and still editing, and I know they're trying to go non-gendered this year, which is something that I'm not full in support of. I think I see what they're trying to do is be a little more inclusive, but I think rather than kind of lumping everyone together, I think it would be nice if they did, supporting actors, supporting actress, supporting performer, and let, each person decide where they would like to be represented, because I do think, as far as gender goes, we should give people the option.
Yeah. So was it all digital this year?
I believe so.
I think they were pushing for it. I don't know if they actually, that's interesting as well. How many, if I don't want to put you on the spot, how many groups were actually represented?
That I'm not sure.
Because there's like 200 theater groups or something in the state. For this little, I could not believe that.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, some didn't come back, I understand, but I think that's, COVID had a way of just putting the brakes on so much stuff.
Well, that, and I think a couple companies wanted to see how it went and how things shook out, and maybe let them kind of get the bugs out and then decide if they want to come back or not.
Yeah. So did you guys have shows in it from last year?
Cabaret performed.
And did it win anything?
Yep, they won Best Choreography.
They did?
Yep.
They did. Where was that performed at? Where did you guys do Cabaret?
Cabaret was at the Hatbox.
It was?
Yes. Yeah, last summer. And then Hand of God, Mark Kelly won Best Actor.
He did?
He did.
Oh, my God. Didn't know that.
Yeah, I was super proud. And I had to keep it to myself and keep it secret. It was very hard. I was so proud.
Oh, that's fascinating. This is... When you win an award like that, let's just say if you win an award, period, there are a lot of people don't understand how big the field of competition is. I mean, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of actors and actresses in this state. And to come away with any kind of an award, that is huge.
Well, and I think he did a lot of work on that show, and he did such a beautiful performance in Hand of God. And to me, out of all of my actors, like, he is the one who is really just about putting the performance on, and he doesn't care about the awards. And so for him to get that recognition, I thought was really special.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I honestly think if you're trying for an award, you're doing
the wrong thing.
Yeah,
you're doing it for the wrong reason.
And you can't, and it's not going to come off correctly because you're playing to something that should not be being played to.
No, I don't think that was on his radar at all. I don't talk about nominations when I nominate actors at all. They don't know. I could nominate none of them and they'd have no idea. But he very much was about putting on a performance that he was proud of, and
Such
to get that recognition.
Actor.
Yes.
Such a strong actor.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So what else is happening over there at Actor
Cooperative Theater?
Yes, thank you.
So right now it's just Trail to Oregon and then Cruel Intentions, where the Hatbox had asked when we did it, Actor Singers to tour it up there. The board of Actor Singers wasn't super interested in that, which is totally fine. So Actors Cooperative Theater said, we'll send it up there. So we are rebooting Cruel Intentions with most of the original cast and a couple open roles, but I will be back on stage for that.
Is that going to be in Derry?
Is actually performing at the Montessori School in Manchester with MCTP
when
and
does that
the
go
Hatbox. That goes up in August.
Wait, and the Hatbox?
Yeah. They're teaming up together.
The Hatbox?
Yep.
Which is non-existent.
It's an idea now. Yes, it's they're looking for a permanent space, but I had worked with Andrew to kind of reset the other season 9 people, and so the musicals are going with MCTP, and they're going to team up. But I will be on stage for that one. I will not be directing that one.
Do you prefer it that way?
No.
You do not?
I hate being on stage.
What?
I try to do one show a year as an actor to not be a terrible person as a director. I think too many directors forget what it's like to be an actor. I worked as a professional actor for a long time and decided it wasn't for me, but I think it's worth it to be a better director, to think of what I do and what I do like, what I don't want to do. And it is the most miserable experience for me every year. And I push myself to do it because I think it's worth it.
You are so on the opposite side of me. I wouldn't want to direct to save my life. I do not. I've been asked and I'm like, no. I want to be on that other side.
I hate it.
That's crazy.
I hate it. I figured that out when I was like 19. And I had been professionally working for a while by then, but...
Man.
And then I gave it one more college try right out of college and said, yeah, I'm all set.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
It's funny because most people kind of get the bug, once they've done it.
I think I had that when I was a child performer, but then I grew up and was like, I don't like the vibe. I don't like this.
So you enjoy the actual work of staging something, making all that choreo, literally like it's like directing airplanes in and out of that whole situation.
Yeah.
Oh my God. How's Tom?
He's great.
Yeah? Say hi. Hi, Tom. You have been listening to Angèlica Rosenthal and myself, Ray Dudley. We are coming to you from the not so overly ostentatious digs of the WKXL studios in Concord. This has been NH Unscripted. You're listening to us either 1450 AM, 103.9 FM in Concord, 101.9 FM in Manchester. Angèlica, what is the name of the play again? And
The Last Days of Judas Iscariot with the Milford Area Players.
There you go. NHTalkRadio.com is the URL. We're out of here.